So the potential savior here is adding complexity, and when you add complexity, you are potentially creating a sustainable ecosystem because there's a lot more aspects.
Yes, more verticals of interpretation, right? Now it's like, hey, yeah, I don't necessarily think gaming is going to be all that valuable or sustainable. Like, people might get bored of the game, but this asset isn't just linked to the game ecosystem. It's linked to, I don't know, like a user-generated content creation angle for like fashionable goods in the metaverse or something like that.
Yeah.
Therefore, now you have two, competing but also aligned.
You have like
verticals.
loops that are
multiple
linked.
Loops.
Yeah, together.
All to like a shared, digital currency.
So how would you create something like that, Iman?
Don't ask me.
What would you facilitate in order to potentially create loops that are linking with each other?
Linking loops?
Yeah.
Oh my dude, I hate when you do this, dude. You can't do this to me again.
What is the thing?
What are you fishing for?
What is the thing that we could build on top of that would allow multiple links interact with each other?
Abstraction layer?
The metaverse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, I said that. That's our thing.
Yeah.
That's why.
We're talking about games in a very linear and very kind of limited functionality game like aspects scope, right? It's a very limited scope.
Yeah, of course.
But the metaverse is very generalized, right? And so you can put a bunch of games with limited scopes with functionalities that are interacting with other games, create these like linked loops.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have a complex ecosystem.
Yeah, and within that, like, again, and the metaverse is hosted not just one singular interpretation of a value ecosystem, right? There could be others in existence, just like, there's competing nations in our real world.
Yeah.
And within that means, like, now you can create, again, more verticals, like trade between different, economies.
Yes.
Imports, exports. These are all different, like, value propositions, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. We're creating new layers of complexity, right? And then therefore, over time, the value proposition and the perception of these digital currencies, which is the ultimate end goal to everything in Web3, right, is to find true value in a digital asset, right? For Bitcoin, it's the easiest thing in the world because they're not pitching anything other than, these are just bits that you could store your wealth in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to playing like ecosystem tokens and stuff like that, you have a much tougher job ahead of you. You got to convince a large pool of humanity that not only that the currency itself is valuable or currencies within this ecosystem, but also like the value output of the ecosystem as a whole is something to be like value worthy. Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, fuck, man. It's no wonder why nobody's achieved this like yet. Right? Because just laying it out like that, we're talking about, the foundings of like a nation, right? Like,
the digital nation. That's what the metaverse is supposed to be. The metaverse can host this complexity.
It can, absolutely,
and that's why we talk about it all the time. We see that potential.
We do, and we're implementing it in like the most micro of a sense because that's what the metaverse allows for the moment.
Yeah,
because in context of like how do you make game-ish ecosystem sustainable, it's like, well, you need maybe like a metaverse groundwork in order to enable much more complexity to evolve.
Yeah.
Well then fuck, okay, well show me this metaverse. It's like, fuck, okay, well we got problems there too. It's like there's so many layers of technology still kind of missing to enable all this sustainability, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, fuck. Sorry guys. So you can't really spin like a super rosy picture yet about this, but you can kind of imagine it, right?
And it's gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna be talking about this in the live call here in the next hour or so. But we were talking about why the metaverse, right? You and I, for several hours yesterday.
Well, I mean, we talk about this daily.
Well, yeah. But this one was different because we man, every now and then we always go back to like why the metaverse and like why is it a big deal and why is it important?
Yeah.
But I think we nailed down like the answer to why the metaverse is that it solves a lot of the physical limitations of reality, such as I gave you one example of like let's assume for the sake of the conversation that you believe in like the one person that you're supposed to be with for the rest of your life, right?
Yes.
Let's assume that was
perfect pairing.
Yeah. Let's assume that was a real thing, right? Just so what's the likelihood that you would find the one within the city that you live in?
Yeah, within like a 15 to 30 mile radius.
Yeah.
Like if somehow you just met all those opposing matches.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood you found like the most compatible?
Perfect match. Yeah.
Like if you could somehow quantify everything that makes up you.
Yeah.
And somehow there's like a DNA pairing between all those components, right? Like it's just like a bond, a molecular bond that's like achievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlikely, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why things like the internet and like the thing that popped off probably like quicker than anything was like matchmaking, right? Like dating.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing we all desire is to find that perfect pair, right? And yeah, it's real hard to do.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, using the internet to find potential matches.
Yeah, like give the internet as much information about you as you can. All those molecules that make up you, essentially, those brain molecules.
Yeah. And
then the internet's going to spin that up with everyone else's.
Like,
and, be like,
the algorithm is like, this is the person you should be with.
And then you get divorced 5 years later. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Never works out as good as you think it would. But the metaverse at least enables more
verticals of that same problem.
Yeah, much more.
Like, let's say you were born in Ethiopia. What are your economic possibilities there?
True.
Almost nothing.
Almost,
right? Yeah. But if you had a cell phone, which most people do, you might be able to access a metaverse where there's digital opportunities, where you can make a living.
Yes.
And so that's a citizen in reality transitioning to becoming a digital citizen of another nation.
I think that's why the metaverse concept is catching on a lot more quicker. Like, even like Africa is adopting Bitcoin, I think, more aggressively than any other place on earth, from what I've heard.
Even El Salvador?
I think it's probably like El Salvador and then Africa, right?
Yeah.
That's what I heard. So when it comes down to the metaverse, and once you can inject all these different like value layers within it, you're gonna see Africa again. Like, dude, they're already adjusted and adapted to digital currencies and the ideas of digital values. Like, fuck yeah, dude. As long as you can give me like well, I guess a lot of these metaverses are web based, but let's imagine a future where it's all VR, and then the hardware gets to the point where it's as ubiquitous as a mobile device.
See, but what you're talking about is just immersion levels, right? On a cell phone, you're not really that immersed, but if you put on a VR headset, you're a little bit more immersed in whatever activity you're in.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really solve any other like core issues like the ones that we're talking about. Like maybe if you're trying to meet people and like enjoy someone else's company, then you put on a VR headset and then you kind of feel that immersion.
Yeah, I mean, the internet already kind of solves the social dilemma between the geographic limitations of physical reality, right? That's the real dilemma we're kind of targeting here.
Yeah.
And it's a shadow one I think a lot of people don't really consider.
Yeah.
Especially like us in the West, we don't realize like there's, I mean, I think people do, but a lot of people don't realize how how lucky we were just at birth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that literally like while we're like cooked up, like, in the ether.
Yeah.
Like there's like a dice rolling.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like for us to be positioned in like a developed, economy.
Yeah. Born in a developed economy.
It's like a 15-20% probability, dude.
Yeah.
So you've basically, and then if you're in like a top echelon of that, you're like, you hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Right. But most people get fucked on that dice roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no way to really escape that because it's nothing. Only way you can is if you
just leave the country,
find your way into
another nation,
into those ecosystems, those thriving economies, right? So not easy to do. Tons of barriers in that. Physical.
So the metaverse is about building complex economies.
It's addressing that dilemma.
Yeah.
It's a humanities level.
Yeah.
Systemic. Like just a physical reality dilemma again. It's like not many people really think about.
They don't,
unless you're in that situation that you're persistently thinking about. That's like, fuck, dude. Yeah. Why was I chosen to be like the forsaken one?
Yeah,
right. That's fucked.
Yeah, and imagine that person that hears like, I can play a game to earn money. They'll be like, hell yeah.
Or I could. They're thinking I could do anything
Yeah.
Anything to earn and like, elevate
Anything,
your
yeah.
socioeconomic status on this planet, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, dude. Like, give me anything.
Yeah.
You're telling me like I have to like slap myself for like 12 hours a day and you pay me like, some money, I'll do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because there's no other opportunities for them.
Yes. So, yeah, this is where you enter that zone of where some people might interpret this as like, I don't know, man. This is the weird zone.
Why? What's weird about it?
Because I think some people will interpret this as like as a good for humanity, like us. We see this as a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Like there's the potential, the metaverse.
Like locked into the matrix, in other words?
Yeah, and then people are going to start painting these dystopic visions of the future. It's like, okay, so then you're saying in order for anybody to extract value for themselves is to, like, being locked into not even like a layer of existence independent of one we're born into, right?
Yeah.
We're kind of saying yes. That's just the unfortunate like truth. We've created a system, not us. We were born into this system. Our forefathers and whatever happened in history's context led us to this situation today that we have no control over.
Yeah.
This is just, it is what it is, dog.
Yeah.
You could try and be a political activist all day you want, or become like the next Elon Musk and try to change the mold, the matrix as much as possible.
Yeah.
But the probability of that is almost zero.
Yeah, zero.
So you're forced to either adapt or like fight your way through this dilemma.
Yeah.
Or us as a civilization, we have to create new opportunities that don't exist within this reality.
Right.
Right? As crazy as that sounds. But the thing is, we have the technology to enable that now.
Yeah.
So why the fuck wouldn't we do that?
Yeah, I don't see why others are struggling with this.
I do, because those others, they're sitting there like
Sitting
fucking
pretty.
comfortable as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Ordering their DoorDash, scratching their nuts.
I feel attacked.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Every time you're sitting there, eating your wings and scratching your nuts, dude, are you thinking about, poor people in Ethiopia, TJ?
Certainly not.
Yes.
You're not out there like, damn, dude, what can we do to solve this? No, nobody thinks that, right? So
Yeah.
therefore, these problems don't get solved, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.